The story begins with the fact that, one day, a little girl named Emily. She loved to walk around the neighborhood of her house and explore new places. One day she noticed an abandoned hospital and decided to see what was hiding there. Emily carefully entered the hospital. Everything was quiet and empty, but something in her made her stay and continue exploring the room. She walked through the long corridors and entered one of the wards. In it she saw a girl very similar to her. They started talking and spent several hours together. But when Emily decided to return home, she noticed that all the doors were closed. She couldn't get out of the hospital. Night was falling, and Emily began to realize that she was stuck here. She continued to wander through the dark corridors of the hospital, but all the doors were locked. And then she heard footsteps. Someone or something was approaching her. Emily quickly hid behind one of the doors and hid. But when she looked at what was behind the door, she realized that she had fallen into a trap. There were several murderers outside the door, with bloody faces. In their hands they held huge blades that looked like from some kind of katana. They looked like refugees from a prison located next to a hospital. They were ready to kill anyone who got in their way. Emily knew her time had come. However, Emily's story didn't end so simply. A few days later, one of the hospital workers heard screams inside the abandoned building. When he got closer, he found a little girl sitting on the floor among the broken glass and debris. He called an ambulance, and when the girl was taken to the hospital, it turned out that she had suffered a severe mental shock. Emily couldn't tell what had happened. She was too scared and stunned. A few weeks later, when the girl recovered a little, she told a story about her meeting with a girl who looked like her and the murderers. But no one could confirm her words, and the story about Emily was relegated to the realm of fantasy. But Emily's fate remained tragic. She was left with psychological traumas for the rest of her life and was afraid to explore new places. Every time she passed by an abandoned building, she felt that someone was watching her and wanted to harm her. But even after many years have passed since the day when Emily got into an abandoned hospital, her story has not been forgotten by the locals. People still say that at night you can hear the screams of a little girl and the noise from an abandoned building. One day, a guy named Sean decided to check how true these rumors are. He went to an abandoned hospital and began to explore its territory. Suddenly, he heard someone whispering, which called him to enter the building. Sean couldn't resist it and decided to go inside. But when he got inside the building, everything was not as he expected. Dead bodies hung on the walls, and pieces of furniture and glass were scattered on the floor. And suddenly he saw a girl sitting on the floor and looking at him. It was Emily. Sean tried to help her out, but immediately heard footsteps. He turned around and saw a group of masked youths who were already ready to attack him. Sean realized that he was trapped and he urgently needed to get out of this building. But, unfortunately, Sean did not manage to get out of the abandoned hospital. His body was found a few days later in the forest. And since then, the hospital has become an even more dangerous place that no one is recommended to visit.